and I'm going to be your science teacher for Basic 3. I hope you will enjoy all the lessons that you will watch here. Today, we are going to look at life processes of living things. Life processes of living things. And when you were in Basic 1, Basic 2, you learned about living things. And today we are going to look at their life processes. So the topic for today is life processes of living things. When you did living things in Basic 1 and 2, you said human beings, animals, and plants are all living things. Before we start, let's look at our lesson objectives. Okay, if you pay attention and then follow this lesson, by the end of this lesson, you'll be able to explain what life processes are. What life processes are. And then 2, you'll be able to state any 3 examples of life processes of living things. Any 3 examples of life processes of living things. So 1, you'll be able to explain what life processes are. And then 2, you'll be able to state any 3 examples of life processes of living things. Good. Now let's begin with the lesson. What are life processes? We are saying we are going to talk about life processes of living things. What are life processes? Life processes are things living things do to stay alive. Life processes are things living things do to stay alive. So you can see human beings, you can see animals, you can see plants. So human beings are parts of living things. Animals are parts of living things. Plants are parts of living things. And there are things that they do to stay alive. So that is what we are going to look at in this lesson. What things do they do to stay alive? When you are alive, you can do so many things by yourself. If you can do so many things by yourself, what are some of the things that you do that always keeps you alive? And that is what we are going to look at. Good. Human beings, animals, and plants do these things. So whether the living thing is an animal, whether a human being, whether plant, they all do these things so that it will keep them alive. It will keep them alive. Now let's look at life process 1. Life process 1. Living things move. Living things move. So if living things do certain things that helps them to stay alive, then one of it is movement. Living things move. So if you look at human beings can move on their own. Because you are alive, you can move on your own. So you see the child crawling. You see this baby crawling. You see this man here walking. You see this boy here running. So movement is one of the things that living things do to stay alive. You can't stay at one place all the time. You have to move, either to go and find something to eat, either to go and drink water, either to go and take your bath, either to go to school, to go to church. You need to move. So human beings can move on their own. And if you can move on their own, then it means you can be, it can be said that you are a living thing. So one of the life processes that human beings go through is what? Movement. Movement. Animals can also move on their own. So you can see the butterfly, they move by flying. You can see the dog, they move by walking. This horse is also walking. This bird is also flying. This ant is also moving by walking. So animals too can move on on their own. Let's look at the next one, plants. You may ask, can plants move? Because they are always found firmly fixed in the soil. Can plants move? Kate, plants cannot move from one place to another. But as you see on the screen, plants tend to face the direction of the sunlight. Plants tend to face the direction of the sunlight. When you were in basic 2, we learned that plants also prepare their own food. They use sunlight, they use water, they use air. So when they are preparing their food, they need to turn to the direction of the sun so that they can get the sunlight to prepare their food. They do not move by moving from one place to another, but their branches and then leaves can turn to or towards the direction of sunlight. So one of the life processes of living things is movement. Living things can move on their own. Living things can move. So movement is one of the life processes of living things. Let's look at another life process. Living things eat. Living things eat. So one of the life process, the second life process we are looking about is eating. Living things eat. Kids, if you don't eat in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening, what will happen? You feel very hungry. You feel very hungry. And if you don't eat for some days, you will die. So for you to stay alive, you need to eat. You need to eat. So living things eat, and human beings eat to get energy to live. So you can see this boy eating banana, enjoying the banana. Yes, because living things need to eat to stay alive. So this guy is enjoying the banana. When he finish the one in hand, he will come to the second one on the table. He's enjoying himself with the banana. Look at this boy also. Yes, maybe he's celebrating his birthday. Look at how he's enjoying the meat. Yes, the boy is telling you that living things need to eat to stay alive. So he's enjoying his meal. So living things eat, and human beings are part of living things. So human beings eat to get energy to live. If you don't eat for some days, you will feel weak even to walk a short distance. So living things eat, and since human beings are part of living things, they eat to get energy to live. Let's look at animals. Animals also eat. You have lots of animals around, lots of them, and they all eat. So look at this animal you see on your screen. You can see the grass cutter now eating on their own. Nobody is feeding them, they are eating on their own. Yes, because living things need to eat. Look at this animal too. Look at this deer. Look at this pig. They are all eating. Look at this giraffe, also eating. Because they need to eat to get energy. Look at this squirrel, also eating. Because they need to eat so that they can stay alive. Look at this gorilla, also eating. Look at this rabbit, also eating. Lizards, they are also eating. Because animals eat to get energy to live. If you don't eat, Kate, you will die. Look at this monkey, also eating some plants. They are also eating some plants. Look at this elephant, also eating some plants. So Kate, animals eat to stay alive. And this is one of the life process of living things. Look at this panda. They enjoy bamboo so much. Panda like bamboo. Pandas, they like bamboo so much. So look at how this panda is enjoying the bamboo tree or plant. Look at how the panda is enjoying, because living things need to eat. And this panda is an animal and an example of a living thing. So they need to eat to stay alive. Plants make their own food. Okay, you know that plant is also part of living things. So green plants make their own food using sunlight. So plants also eat. They prepare their own food and eat. In basic 2, you learned about the basic part of a plant, or the parts of a plant, and we said the leaf is the cook for the plant. The leaves cook for the plant to eat. And if you eat, what do? You grow bigger and stronger. So plants also prepare their own food and then they eat it to stay alive. And they use sunlight, water, and air to prepare their food. Good. So we have looked at 2 life processes. We have looked at movement and we have looked at eating. The living things move, they also eat to stay alive. The third one we are looking at is that living things reproduce. Living things reproduce. And when you say living things reproduce, it means they give birth to live young ones. So if you look at this hen has given birth, or this hen laid eggs and hatched, and then we have some chicks here. This cow gave birth to this calf. So living things reproduce. That is, they bring out young ones. So human beings and animals produce young ones. So you look at this woman with a baby. You look at this cow with a calf. You look at this dog with a puppy. So human beings and animals produce young ones. If you don't produce young ones, you will one day vanish from this earth, because young ones are not coming to replace the old ones. So human beings and animals produce young ones, and it's one of the life processes of living things, reproduction. Let's look at plants. Plants produce seeds from which new plants grow. Plants produce seeds. So if you look at this bean is also growing. This bean was planted, had roots, and started growing. And they will grow into new plants. They will bear fruit, and we can plant it again using the seeds. So plants produce seeds from which new plants grow. So plants also reproduce to get young ones. Plants also reproduce to get young ones. Good. Let's look at the fourth one. The fourth one, we have talked about movement. That's one of the life processes. The first one is movement. Living things move. Then we looked at the second one. Living things eat. We looked at the third one. Living things reproduce young ones. And right now we are on the fourth one. Living things grow. Living things grow. So if you look at this image, you see that at first this human being was a baby and then kept growing, kept growing, kept growing. So living things grow. So let's look at this. All living things grow, and when you hear the word grow, it means that you become bigger and stronger. When you grow, you become bigger and stronger. So human beings grow from babies to adults. Human beings grow from babies to adults. So as you see on the screen, this, you can see a baby learning how to walk, can now walk, run, and then he's now a big boy. So when you were also young, your mom used to put you at her back and tie you with a cloth. Right now you are a big boy, you are a big girl, you can even walk to school by yourself. It means you are growing. Day in, day out, you are becoming bigger and stronger, bigger, and you grow up bigger and stronger like your mom and your dad. Because you are a living thing, you are not stagnant. You grow. And when you grow, you become bigger and stronger, as you see with this boy. Animals also grow from babies to adults. Look at this cat growing. Growing into a big cat, growing. So as they eat, they grow bigger and stronger. So you see, this cat was a young kitten growing into a big cat. Interesting. Yes. If anything can go through this process, it means you are a living thing. Your chair cannot grow. Your pen cannot grow. Your daddy's car cannot grow. Your spoon cannot grow. Your shoe cannot grow. But if you are a living thing, you can grow bigger and stronger. As you eat and drink water, you grow and become bigger and stronger. As you see this cat growing bigger and stronger. Bigger and stronger. Good. Plants also grow bigger and stronger into big plants. So you see the bean plants growing, and it will become a big plant. Look at this plant also. It will also grow and become a big plant. So seeds grow into big plants. You plant them in the soil and they will grow small. They will grow small and they will become very big. So human beings, animals, and then plants, because they are all living things, they grow to become bigger and stronger. We are almost at the end of this lesson on life processes of living things. Okay, so let's go over what we have learned. The first life process we talked about is movement. That living things move. You saw animals moving, you saw human beings moving, and we said plants move towards the direction of sunlight. You said living things eat. You saw human beings eating, a boy eating banana, a boy enjoying his chicken meat. And then you see a dog too here eating banana. Human beings, animals, and then plants, you all eat so that we can grow bigger and stronger. We also talked about the third one, that is reproduce. When we hear reproduction, it means that they produce young ones that looks like them. So you see this dog and a small puppy. Yes. So living things reproduce. That is, they produce young ones. And the last one we looked about is growing. Living things grow. They grow bigger and stronger into big men and women, into big animals, and into big plants. So Kate, these are the life processes of living things. We move, we eat, we reproduce, then we grow. Good. Now, let's test ourselves on this lesson. 1. Food provides energy and helps living things. 2. Food provides energy and helps living things too. You have reproduce, you have rest, you have grow. So when you eat, what happens? Good, you grow. So food provides energy and help living things to grow. Good. 2. Living things producing young ones is called living things. Producing young ones is called, you have growth, you have reproduction, you have nutrition. Good. Reproduction. 3. Which of the following living things prepare their own food? Which of the following living things prepare their own food? We have goats, we have plants, we have dogs. Yes, plants prepare their own food. Plants prepare their own food. 4. Plants move by turning towards the direction of. Plants move by turning towards the direction of. You have soil, you have sunlight, you have water. Good. Sunlight. Sunlight. Then the last one, a dog move by. A dog move by walking. So a dog move by walking. Good. So you see the dog there walking. You have come to the end of the lesson, and Kate, I want you to take this homework and try your hands on. 1. Changing place or position is called. Changing place or position is called. If you look at the life processes we talked about, if you change your position from one place to another, how do we call it? 2. Increasing in size of living thing is called. Increasing in size of living thing is called then you put it there. And then 3. Mention any 3 life processes of living things. Mention any 3 life processes of living things. Make sure you do your homework, and I hope you enjoy the lesson as well. Until we meet again next time, this is your teacher, Ernest Atto Benzel. Bye-bye.